Hi, and welcome back for another edition of Fitness Presence. And today what we're gonna do, as we always do, is an integrative, comprehensive workout. We're gonna work on strength, flexibility, balance, coordination, everything. But today we're gonna focus and really think about how do we create flexibility and what does it really mean? As we're working through all the different planes and ranges of movement, we'll think about functional flexibility, which really includes, in my mind, flexibility, stability, and mobility. What I want to move away from is just the limited number of stretches in singular plane areas that most people are doing, and recognize that our bodies move in so many different directions. So we want to think about increasing those ranges of movement all the way through. So let's go ahead and get ourselves started. And what we're going to do today is start with a nice long stretch of the body. You may want to find yourself on your tippy toes. Sometimes flexibility is easier to find with a greater grounding. So it might be planting your feet more steadily there, and we'll work from there. But let's go ahead and raise it up. And we're gonna think about working through all the different muscle groups, all the different joints. And so as we come down, I want you to recognize that we're on a sagittal plane, right? We're gonna be bending the knees, we're gonna be hinging at the hips, we're gonna be bringing our arms through a full range of movement and tucking the chin underneath. So we're stretching the neck. We're also going to press our knees forward here, stretching the ankles, pressing forward up into the hips. As we come up and back, we're going to think a little bit about pressing into the hip flexors to open that area up wide and reach back. And then let's come back down again and breathe. Press all the way in. We're going to do a few of these on this sagittal plane. And then we'll work our way through. And we're going to do sagittal, frontal, and transverse throughout the entire body. As you come back, what I'd like you to do is take your neck and stretch back comfortably. I'm gonna land on my heels and lay it back a little bit, but lay your head back as well. And you'll start to feel the stretch. Whenever you're stretching back, remember to elongate your spine, not to collapse, and to come all the way through. Reach back underneath, get some good stretch there, and come through. So one of the things I'd also like to communicate is that you'll probably find that you have a little bit more flexibility in certain areas than others. And that's just natural, even if it's the same body part. So for instance, I'll just speak to myself here, or for myself, as I come down, dropping in, feel pretty comfortable through here. As I press in, I'll notice that the hamstring on my right side is a little tighter than my left. And what you want to do is recognize that your stretching is always designed to meet you where you are. So it's not about someone else's perfect range of movement. It's about yours. So if you find there's a shoulder that's tighter, or you're tighter in your hips, the only thing we're trying to do is to work at our edges so that we can continue to get the outcomes we're really looking for. Our edges, not someone else's. So let's come on up over time. We're gonna work on the frontal plane now. We're gonna work stretching through here. And what I want you to do is think about, again, we're gonna work the shoulder, the neck, the opening the sides of the body. We're gonna stretch the adductors as we're coming through. You're gonna get a bit of stretch in the ankle joint as you drop down. And we'll do a little bit of resistance as well. So we're gonna do isokinetic pull from side to side. And again, what you want to find is a big enough range of movement or through here that you can stretch and come back across and breathe. And again, this is all frontal plane, side to side, and we're pulling, so feel that stretch, stretching out the rib cage, pulling it all the way across, dropping and getting a nice stretch in the adductors, pulling through, laying the head down side to side, and breathe all the way through. Again, now we may even just stay on the same frontal plane. Instead of bending toward the knee, we could bend away. And again, work different flexibility and come on all the way across and breathe. And so now we're moving away from the bent knee and pressing in, getting a little bit of a different stretch, coming side to side. And let's go transverse. And so when transverse, we're going to rotate around the spine. We're going to pull our arms apart and pull all the way back and through. So as we're working on this flexibility, think about pulling your arms all the way and wrapping them around. So feel that shoulder flexibility. At the same time, you're rotating your torso, dropping in, getting some good flexibility here, flexibility in the back ankle, flexibility in your neck, either looking over this shoulder or the back shoulder. And then unwinding your arms, going through a really big range of movement in that rotation, so that as you come around, you're working this flexibility as well. As you come down, you'll feel a stretch in the hip flexor. As you press into that front leg, you'll feel stretch in the back side, your piriformis and the glute right there. And then we'll take the arms and rotate all the way through and get a really nice rotation as well. And again, neck, you're gonna either come here or here, both of which are stretching and working on that range of movement. So I mentioned flexibility being stability, mobility, and flexibility, really functional fitness and functional flexibility. And what that means is sometimes we might stretch but not make the joints strong. So what I'd like you to also think about as we come back on the sagittal plane, we're gonna reach up over the head. And so as you reach back with your shoulders, allowing your arms to come back, you're really pulling back, but you're also have a strong hold in those shoulders. You're not just completely relaxing. You want there to be some stability in that joint. And so as we come back through, I want you to imagine you're pulling this through that full range of movement. You'll notice the legs are a little wider, so you can hit the stretch in the legs differently. And that'll also impact the stretch underneath. Now let's reach up top and reach those arms, and then come again, and coming down. From the strength perspective right now, we're using antagonist resistance. So as I'm pressing up into the legs, I'm also pulling down. And then as we're reaching up, we're pushing forward. From a flexibility perspective, I want you to think about driving your hips forward, pulling those arms back, nice stretch, and come on back and through and breathe, nice and deep, and come through. Now press into the ground and feel that stretch all through the back of the hamstrings, through your glutes, through your low back. Take your arms and stretch over the top. And again, so we're getting a good bit of flexibility, which is our primary focus right now. But we're also getting good strength. Right now, mostly like a zone 2 cardio, right? So you're able to talk. And again, most of our cardio work should be in that zone 2 area. Too often, we feel, or many people feel, that everything we do have to be so hard. And it just isn't true, right? As we're working on the edges of our capability, whether that be strength, or flexibility, or cardio, or balance, our bodies continue to adapt. And that's all we're trying to do. Create an environment that's going to allow us to adapt. I'm gonna do another movement for the body as we rotate through. We're gonna go side to side. But thinking about flexibility for the shoulders, take one arm behind your back and one arm over the top and try to almost reach back and touch. And everybody's gonna have different ranges of movement there. But you're gonna come across and drop in. And again, find the width that allows you to drop deep and stretch across and reach. So we're working on that shoulder flexibility nicely, that adductor, leaning the body so you're stretching the core, and coming across, and resist that movement. So make it antagonist resistance as you come through, dropping around and reaching. Good. Let's get a couple more there. I'm gonna pull through, all the way over. Drive that arm. So when you're doing this, I want you to think about driving your arm up nice and high. Feel that stretch through here. And as you get that around, now bring your arm down and reach through. So you're stretching the shoulder through a very big range of movement. Coming all the way around and dropping down. Let's do the same thing. Reach up, stretch, then down, and then bring the other arm around to attempt to meet it. in this rotation, let's stretch high this time. So as we're going to rotate through, we're going to get a nice deep drop. I want you to turn your body so you feel that rotation, and then lift your arms way high and stretch your body up. Maybe even look back a little bit. And then we'll come down. Let's swoop down for some flexibility, coming across and then coming back up, rotating and reaching and looking back. So you'll feel that stretch all the way up through the hip flexors into your obliques, laying back, including your neck. Ooh, a little bit of lost balance coming around. And as I've mentioned before, losing your balance is actually part of the plan if you're intending to improve your balance. We're not falling over on purpose, but if we're near the edge of the range of movement for our balance, then it's going to be something that as we move through, periodically we're going to lose. What that tells you is that most of the time, your body's constantly fine-tuning that movement and pulling through. While on the subject of balance, let's do a couple of other things that really help with flexibility. So many of you will know this as like the four-sit. I like this a lot. It's a great hip opener. When you drop down, try to keep your body upright for a while, right? Pull in nice and tight. Feel that stretch. I like it because I feel the stretch on both sides of my glutes. And then you may want to lean forward, reaching, feel that, get a little bit deeper there, and maybe even hang on it and come through. And for balance and flexibility simultaneously, you can pick that leg up and try to stretch it as far as it can. It's a nice gentle stretch, and bring it back down again. And flipping sides, come up over the top. And you may notice, you most likely will notice one side's a little more flexible than the other. Dropping down all the way. We're going to stretch forward like we did before, right? And as you stretch forward and lay over, you'll feel that stretch not only in your glutes, but you'll also feel it in your lower back. And we'll come out. And then let's do that stretch balance as well. Pick your leg up. And then see. Try to extend the leg. Extend the body. Really stretch out. And come back in. I said it's a gentle stretch because there's nothing pressing. Let's try to do a couple different ways of thinking about squats. And what I want you to do is just kind of look at it this way. And as you drop down, you want your butt to go back. And you allow your ankle flexibility to try and press forward. Think about pressing forward. And then lower back, you're going to come and press out of the low position. Think about elongating your body as much as you can. And press your hips forward. Allow yourself to move gently and feel that nice stretch. And then let's come all the way down and around. Maybe we stretch the hamstrings first. And then sink back in. Get those ankles stretched. Dropping in. Breathing gently. Coming up and around. And let's go again. Elongate your body. Whenever you're going to stretch back, elongate your body. Come back down again and breathe. My experience with stretching is that when I force something, the body tightens up. So do your stretching gently. Now what we're going to do, we've done the sagittal plane. I want you to think about going around the world with your torso. We can either do this with a wide stance or a narrow stance, so we'll do both. But I want you to think about laying sideways and then allowing your body to come all the way through and stretch your torso in every direction. And then as you come back up again, here you're going to think about pulling nice and high. Anytime you go back, you're pulling really high and coming around. And then you're going to, let's do two of those. So we did that first one. We'll do two, and then we'll go the opposite direction on our way around. And breathe all the way up. Now stretch again. And you'll notice that I'm stretching forward, so I'm pressing my butt back. Your butt and hips are always away from where your hands and torso are. So as your hands and torso go back, elongate your spine and you're pressing your hips and pelvis forward. And let's do that again. Press it back and come around. Of course, we can rotate into a crescent as we had before, stretching, and think about not only going back, which we had done, but also coming forward over that front leg and stretching. Feel that stretch nice and deep. And again, everybody's going to have their own flexibility. In fact, you'll notice as I switch sides that I have different flexibility in both sides, as many of you will as well. So let's get down. Think about this. You have a nice stretch of that back foot. You get a nice stretch of the hip flexor. You're opening your body up and laying it back. And then as you come forward, press both feet down and find a stretch. It feels good. So this one's a little tighter for me than the other side. And so you'll notice there's a little less range of movement right there. It's what I have found through my years of exercise is periodically there'll be a little tightness or a little injury in one area. It stays for a little while and then it'll move away. But this movement of being nice and slow allows you to get into pretty deep ranges of movement right at the edge of your capability. What we're going to do here, I want you to think about rotating in a crescent, coming nice and long, and maybe reaching across your body. So you're rotating the torso, so there's a lot of balance, there's flexibility, there's mobility, right? We're teaching ourselves to be in all kinds of different movements. We'll come across, and we're going to be completing this workout because we want to make it just about 1% of the day. And we're about there. So let's take just a minute. I'm right in the lower end really of zone 2 because we're taking it a little light today. Really paying attention to our flexibility and balance more than cardio and strength. And another thing I'd like you to recognize is that you can always pay attention to what you feel you need and give it exactly that. If you want to go really hard and you need a big strength workout, you just increase the resistance either isokinetically or antagonistically, creating more resistance inside your body. If you feel you need a little day of recovery, then give yourself that. Let's do a couple more. Nice, slow, up, around, back down again. Nice and slow, up and around. Bring it in. And that's great. So today we focused on flexibility. Tomorrow we're going to focus on cardiovascular. And I look forward to seeing you there.